Howdy folks, this is the Roaming Prepper, and thank you for joining me today. For those of you who followed me for any length of time, you know that I'm on the road a lot. And so a lot of my concept of preparedness is being prepared when you're on the road, commuting to work, going to a work site, or maybe traveling for vacation. There's certain basic things that one needs to have when they're traveling, or even if you're just staying at home, that will protect you in the event of a medical emergency. I'm always on the lookout for new products, and I happen to find one that I thought was relevant, so I thought I'd share it with you, and we're going to go talk about some of these items right now. I'll be right back. Howdy folks. So when I'm on the road, there are a lot of things you have to be mindful of. When I'm traveling, on the driver's side console, in my door I like to have my first aid kit as well as a tourniquet. These are important things to have with you in the event you have a first aid. I also bring some hard copy maps so I can find my way to the nearest town to find a hospital. But what if you can't do that, either because the roads are blocked or because you're trapped somewhere and you can't transport yourself? If your vehicle goes down and someone gets injured, even though you can administer first aid, you may not be able to give the antibiotic treatment you need to prevent an infection. Well, this product came on my radar and I thought it was relevant. It's called the JASE Case by JASE Medical, and it provides emergency meds for different purposes. Now, I repackaged my JASE Case into this 511 bag, which I thought was more appropriate. It's padded, and it's something I can take with me quickly. I can even attach it with the rings. So let's look at what's involved in this JASE Case product and how it can fit into your preparedness. Now folks, important thing to note, when you go, whether you're getting medical equipment from JASE or somewhere else, even if you're getting it from your local doctor, it's important to keep in mind that using antibiotics meant for an entirely different species for human consumption is concerning. And part of the reason JASE and I have been interacting was because the doctors in my family heard that certain preppers were taking stuff meant for an entirely different animal species, and they got concerned. Now, can you do it? I guess technically yes, but it comes with inherent risk. Most human consumption meds are based on the weight, age, and any pre-existing conditions of the individual. And taking something meant for, a large horse or a small animal, can you do it? Absolutely, we're all mammals. But you have to be careful with how you do it. In my mind, it would make more sense to have something that has been vetted, that was specifically written for your body type, weight, age, and species. Each of these boxes also is labeled with the name of the individual it was scripted for, as well as the content. So if you have to fly, those labels are TSA compliant. And that's important because I travel, so if I want to take, say, one of those amoxicillin for traveler's stomach, traveler's diarrhea or Montezuma's revenge, you want to be sure that the bottle is labeled. The last thing you want to do is go around with a bottle that has nothing on it with pills inside, because that's going to get you stopped at a checkpoint, whether it's National Guard, law enforcement, the TSA, or going over the border if you're going to travel to another country. These kind of things can put you at risk. And so part of the reason I wanted to review this particular product is to make people aware that it's out there. Now, the cost depends on what you're getting. They do have different variations of the case, and of course if your pre-existing condition precludes you from having one of the meds, it obviously won't be included. Now, the way the shipping occurs is they have affiliate pharmacies around the country. So once you place your order, the product will go to an order warehouse, if you will, and then one of the affiliate pharmacies that's closest to you will put together the scripts and then ship them to you. Now, Okay, friends. Once you get your JASE case, you will receive it in a box, and it'll also come with the shipping contents and documents for each of the meds showing any possible medical interactions, as well as warnings and recommendations before using the medicine. You'll also receive an antibiotic emergency guide. Now, this particular booklet was quite handy. It has details on all the different types of meds, including the amoxicillin, doxycycline, azithromycin, that's fun to say, and what they're used for. Not every antibiotic is for every situation. There are things for exposure to things like anthrax, which could be done naturally and not necessarily bioterror, as well as traveler's diarrhea and pneumonia, more generic purposes. Make sure you read this and understand it. Now, the meds will be prescribed after you've done your online consult. It's going to be based on your age, the weight, and other health conditions that you report to JASE before it goes through their online doctors to be prescribed to you. Again, a lot of folks are resorting to taking medicines meant for an entirely different species, and that it comes with inherent risks. And remember, I'm an engineer, not a doctor. So taking antibiotics without the proper consult and without advising your personal doctor also carries risks. So make sure you go through JASE's proper consult so that these meds are customized to you, and also make sure that your personal doctor or any responder who comes to help you understands what you've taken. Your products will come in their bottles, as well as one box, which is technically your Z-Pack. All of them will be individually labeled, and each of them will have warnings such as to take with food, to take with water, the quantity of the pills, as well as all the other necessary and typical medical advice that you would receive in the label. Once again, this isn't for everybody's preparedness, but it doesn't hurt to have something like this. Supply chain disruptions and other issues can occur, and they can occur very quickly. When they do and someone's injured, you may want to consider having something like this in your set to make sure that you are ready to deal with it. Now, again, it's important when you do your online consult. They do have an 800 number, so obviously while phones and internet still work, you can interact, you can reach out and ask questions of the company. But in the event you do get cut off, at least you have some reference material. If you do wind up taking these meds and then make your way to a responder, it's important to be able to tell the doctor what you took, how much you took, and why you took it. So what I would recommend is in your JASE case or in any first aid kit, when I travel, I have like 3 of these in my car, a notepad. That way, if someone is dog bitten, right, you can do the first aid. You can wrap the injury, you can stop the bleeding, and you can get them, the bleeding stopped, but they've got saliva in the wound. You can try to clean it, but there's a good chance you're going to get infected with a dog bite, and certainly with a human bite, because some humans are just nasty, and you may have to resort to using these meds if you can't get to a physical location. Now, if you're one of those folks who does travel remotely to where you're in the middle of nowhere, which I have done, but on rare occasions, this may be something you'd want to consider, especially if you're homesteading and your nearest hospital or town is an hour or 2 away. This may be something wise to have in your emergency kit. Now, it's important to remember to store the meds properly. You can't leave them in a hot shed. You can't leave them in excessively freezing conditions, typically a room temperature or cool environment. You also want to be sure you keep any meds that you do get scripted away from children. As you can see, these are child-proof lids. So in the event a child gets them, it should be difficult for them to pull them off, but make sure you keep these meds away from kids until it's time to give them to the kids or someone. Again, these are scripted for a specific person. In this case would be me. So make sure that you're factoring in different body types and different pre-existing conditions. I'm going to throw a link below so you guys can look into it. This may not be for everyone. and this may not be something you want to pursue. That's totally fine. There are a lot of good products out there, but it is worth at least looking into and understanding the implications of having or not having it. It's always good to keep an open mind when new products hit the market that may address a gap in our preparedness lifestyle. And again, I understand the principle. I've seen veterinarians treat humans with animal meds, obviously for mammals. Amoxicillin will work on a horse or a goat as well as a human. When you start jumping entire species to go into, fish or birds, you run a distinct risk of doing the wrong thing. Unsupervised and carelessly used antibiotics, including these, can cause immense harm to your body. I mean, it can cause kidney failure, it can cause liver failure. At the very least, you'll have diarrhea for 3 days because you just cleaned out all the good bacteria from your system. So this stuff needs to be used judiciously and with thought. And that's why I do like the way that they have the online consult and they provide you all the documents, but it is on you to read them and understand them. Obviously, I now have one of these cases or one of these kits, so it's going to be incorporated into my preps. I'm fortunate in that in my circle and in my preparedness organization, which is essentially my extended family, we have multiple medical people who all understand the application and proper use of this type of medicine. Not everybody is so fortunate to have that kind of expertise like I do in my groups, so make sure you do your homework. Make sure you understand what you're taking before you put it in your body or in the body of someone you love. Now, obviously, in great emergencies, you may have no choice, and you just have to make the best decision, which is why I like the fact that they don't only give you the little handy-dandy guide, but they gave you the entire detailed breakdown of what was in there. So in any case, guys, this is the roaming prepper. This is just one more possible tool in the toolbox. It may not work for everyone. I get that. But I wanted to bring it up to you so you guys saw it there. Again, there'll be a link below so you guys do your own investigating, see if it's something that makes sense for you. And if it doesn't, then don't use it. If it's not applicable or you have other resources, that's fine too. But at least be aware of what's available, because anything that can help us in an emergency, especially in any kind of major disruption, which we've already seen 2 or 3 in the last few years, is worth looking into. Guys, be safe on the road. God bless. And until next time, I will see you later. Take care.